Here's a quick little video to help you be a little bit more educated on what's happening in Sudan right now. So before I start, why you should stop and listen is because these numbers are from this week, and there's 18 million people who are facing hunger in Sudan and 25 million people who are at risk of food insecurity and flooding because of global warming. This could be the largest hunger crisis globally. So I know this is a condensed explanation, but I just want people to be understanding and educated about generally what's happening. And so basically, if you don't remember, in 2019, it was all over the news. I'm sure a lot of us remember it. This man was overthrown. There was a revolution in Sudan that was led by the people, and his name is Omar al-Bashir, and he was a horrible leader. Everybody hated him. People were suffering under his rule. It was marked with a lot of humanitarian violations, and there were sanctions on Sudan because of all the bad things that he'd done. So after that, it was assumed that there would be a transition to a civilian-led government and things would be peaceful and stable, but these two people, absolutely horrible. Long story short, they both want power, and this is General Burhan and this is General Hameti, and they have been fighting against each other because they both want to be in power. So on a larger scale, these two are representing the groups that are at war right now and are causing a lot of civilian deaths and casualties, and those are the RSF, which is the Rapid Support Forces, and the SAF, which is the Sudanese Armed Forces. So because of those two groups being at civil war and fighting, civilians have been the ones who have suffered the most. To give you an idea of the numbers, this month in February of 2024, 6 million people have been displaced internally within Sudan, and then 1.5 million people have fled to neighboring countries. And as of the last few months, the RSF has actually been committing heinous war crimes against women, children. They've been looting villages, and the violence has become way more widespread. So this is kind of a map. It's actually not even from February or January. It's from the end of last year. And I couldn't find a more updated one, but you can kind of see how the clashes are so widespread and how many people are being internally displaced and constantly migrating to flee violence. And when this many people are displaced and don't have a place to go, then it leads to a lot of violence, and a lot of vulnerable groups such as women and children don't have access to healthcare or basic human necessities. Again, this was a very condensed explanation of what's happening, and if anybody wants to add any insight, please feel free to do so in the comments. I'm going to try to make a more in-depth video. The least we could do is be knowledgeable and educated on what's happening, and then know a couple of resources to direct people to. So International Rescue Committee, UNHCR, and then a couple that I've listed here are all great resources. And I really recommend that you tell people about what's going on because the numbers are very similar to what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. And I think that every single liberation movement matters and every single human rights crisis matters because they're all interconnected.